Hey everyone, welcome back to Dev Parkour. In this video, I want to talk about what I've been working on for the past about a month and a half. It's actually a project management tool built specifically for developers that I'm planning on turning into a startup. A little bit more on that a little bit later in the video, but if you want to check it out and give feedback as a beta tester, you can find the link in the video description. It's valence.bparks.dev. It's, like I said, a project management tool specifically built with developers in mind, because I feel like most of the tools that we use really don't work for the way that we developers think. So Valence specifically is super simple. It's a bunch of requests that you can build relationships between if you want to, and a series of watch lists. A watch list can be whatever you want it to be. If you want to treat it as a sprint, go ahead and treat it as a sprint. If you want to treat it as your personal to-do list, great. It'll work perfectly well for that. There's no specific paradigm that it's designed around, and it can work exactly the way you want to work. So in future videos, I'll be talking about some more of the details of Valence, some of the challenges that I went through as I was building it, and probably some challenges that I haven't even gotten to yet. I want to give you a little bit of a backstory and hopefully give you some information if you, I think it's valuable information regardless of whether you want to start your own company or whether you're working on someone else's product. So a little bit of my background. I actually have had two companies in the past. One that I started, unfortunately, right before the pandemic. I think I've mentioned it a couple times on this channel. I build photo booth software. When the pandemic happened, events, pretty much weren't happening. Nobody was using photo booths anymore, and I still do that. I still have the software. I still have a few people who are using it, but I decided that it's not really something that I want to spend all of my time doing. Um, it's just not where I want to invest all my time. Full time, or even dive too deeply into. Still interesting, but not that interesting. Um, but several years before that, I did start my own company to do consulting work, custom software. Um, Unfortunately, I didn't really know what I was doing, and hopefully I learned a lot in the process, but it didn't work out. I lasted about a year, and then projects dried up, and I didn't get my sales in gear, so I had to shut down. I did have several employees, several people working for me doing software implementation, um, and I just didn't have the the cash flow coming in to be able to sustain that. So I had to shut it down, and I went back and got a day job, and I've done that pretty much ever since. But all of that, I learned a lot through those experiences, but I still felt like there was something that I was missing. So I started talking to a bunch of different people who had built startups before, who had started companies of various different sorts, bootstrapping, venture funded, and just asked them for advice, asked them what they did, asked them what they would recommend for me. Um, and one of the things that people recommended was Y Combinator's startup school. Y Combinator, I'm sure you've heard of it. In addition to their accelerator program, their incubator, they have what's called startup school. And for a long time, it was in person, but I think at the start of the pandemic, possibly a little bit before that, they made it online. So it's free, it's online. You can sign up for it right now. It's Startup School. I'll leave links down in the video description. It's pretty cool. Um, for me, I think I did learn some new stuff, but because of the experiences that I'd had and the startups that I've been around, I think more than anything, it was a reminder of things that I maybe already knew, should have already known. Um, but it was definitely, at the very least, it was a good reminder and a good encapsulation of all this information right in one place. So ranging from things like how to know that you're building the right product, how to vet ideas, how to say no to ideas, and that's probably the hardest thing, especially as engineers. We like to build things, but you have to really learn how to say no to ideas. Um, you'll come up with a lot of ideas. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are really good, but you can't do them, and they have resources to show you which ones are worth investing that next step in. Um, all the way to how to find investment. Uh, Also, going through startup school gives you access to a large library of resources and some other um, like coupons and stuff for various services. I think there's a coupon code you can use for like AWS or Google Cloud or something like that. Worth checking out. Um, but I mentioned that whether you're starting a company or um, working for someone else, I think it's still valuable, and that's because at the end of the day, you want to build a product that customers use. Um, a, a company doesn't succeed or fail because it has a product. A company succeeds or fails because it has customers, right? And ultimately, if you have customers and you listen to your customers, you can build a product that sells. You can build a product that people will pay money for. And that's kind of the key. It all starts with customers. So Y Combinator basically has two rules or two activities that you should be engaging in. One is talk to customers, and two is write code because they do focus on SaaS software a lot of the time, most of the time. So that's what I've been doing over the course of the last 2 months or so. I did startup school, and then I started vetting a bunch of ideas, talking to people. They weren't customers yet, but people who might use the products that I was thinking of. More specifically, talking to people that I thought I could help. Talking to people who I thought had problems that I might have perspective on solving. Um, at the very least, you'll talk to some interesting people. You won't lose anything. Not everyone will have an idea. Not everyone, and you shouldn't be asking for ideas, but not everyone will have a problem that you have some perspective on. That's totally okay. By talking to potential customers, you will figure out what your actual target market is. And, talk to some interesting people along the way. Have some interesting conversations. Um, Ultimately, I settled on an idea. I settled on a problem that was very near and dear to my heart, and that is that uh, most of us use an issue tracker like Jira or Asana or Rally, or most of us are using Jira, right? And when I say us, I specifically mean engineers. But as I was talking to potential customers, I realized that engineers don't like Jira, product managers don't like Jira, and we're the people who spend most of our time in Jira. So I don't really know who Jira is, what problems Jira is designed to solve. But the two people who spend the most time in Jira just don't like it. And I would venture that most engineers, most product managers, both of them, whatever tool they're using doesn't work well for them. It's a problem, and that's kind of the problem that I settled on. Well, I specifically decided to focus on engineers. Engineers want a issue tracker, a ticket tracker, or request tracker that works for the way that they think and the way that they work. So now I had my problem. Now time to start writing some code and getting in front of potential customers. So that's what I've been doing over the last 4 months. Strike that, 4 weeks. Is I built an MVP over the course of a week and a half. Got it in front of some people. They've been using it for 2 weeks. I've been adding features, fixing bugs, improving things over the course of those 2 weeks. And now it's time to get it in front of a broader audience, which brings us to the reason for today's video. My competitive edge is working with customers, and that's the way I want it to be. I want you all to feel heard and listened to, and feel like the product is legitimately built with you in mind. So if you have thoughts, ideas, want to chat further, I'll also leave a link down below of how you can schedule some time on my calendar to talk about your needs as a software engineer, and how Valence can support that. So this is really exciting. I'm really excited about this. This is kind of a new adventure for me. Hopefully it's as exciting for you as it is for me, and I'd love to hear your perspectives on it. So leave comments down below. Set up a time to chat with me via the link down in the description, and by all means, check out the product. Again, link down below. Also, valence.bparks.dev. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at least next week, but possibly even sooner. Thanks for watching.